Hey everyone. Hey, how are you? If you're joining me on Facebook or Instagram, please hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. We are here. We're going to do what it do today on this beautiful Saturday and keep it pushing. So again, if you're joining me live, hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, let me open a screen here so I can see any comments. All right. So thank you to everyone catching this. If you're joining me, my name is Stacy Volsi. I am a nonprofit consultant and I help existing nonprofit organizations identify financial opportunity and build their organizational capacity. Now, this word tends to throw a lot of people off because what is capacity, right? What is the organizational capacity? What the heck does this woman mean? Now, if you've been in the nonprofit industry for some time, you know exactly what I mean, because there are some grants that are capacity building grants. And what that means is that it helps you fund activities in your nonprofit that lead to you, like your ability to effectuate more impact, to be more impactful. So capacity building grants like either help with staffing or programmatic funding. So these type of grants, that's what they help with, capacity building, or even provide technical assistance so they can help you with building your capacity. So that's what they mean by capacity building grant. So I'm just throwing the term out there if you're not familiar with the term. If you're familiar with the term, definitely stick around because we're going to talk about strategic partnerships and outreach and how that's important for your nonprofit organization. Because the one thing that you do not want to do in your nonprofit is not get your name out there, not build recognition in the community, because what's very detrimental to your nonprofit organization is nobody knowing who you are. Because I met so many nonprofit organization founders that tell me about their nonprofits. They've been around for like 10, 15 years and nobody knows about them. And there is a reason for that. There are so many things that happened this week, so many comments that I've seen that led to me wanting to do this live here, because strategic partnerships and outreach seem to be foreign to a lot of people that are running nonprofit organizations when it should not be. There is a difference between nonprofit like yours and nonprofits that are established, that are able to secure funding and sponsorships. The one that you see that are always getting the grants, that are always getting the sponsorship, that always have like, oh, sponsored by XYZ. Like, oh, I wish I could do that. There's a reason and that they're getting these sponsorships and grants. That's because they were able to build their reputation, build their recognition, secure strategic partnerships throughout the life of their organization to ensure that people know who they are. Because you cannot have a nonprofit organization and you don't even know what outreach is. Like, I will be upfront. Outreach is something that my own nonprofit, me and my husband founded a nonprofit. Outreach is our jam. Like when I say it's our jam, like different city, like people know us for outreach, because that's one thing that we understand, that relationships and your network makes things move. Okay, you should be able, wait, my son is staring at me right now. Your reputation and your ability to build relationships in your community should be very important, because so much is happening in your community. If the community members, people in your community, your local businesses, corporations don't recognize your name, that is a big problem. If you are trying to make an impact in the community you want to serve and none of them know you exist, or maybe just a subset of the population know you exist, and like just because a handful of them are telling you, oh, you're doing great work, it harms your heartstrings and makes you feel good about yourself, or you're not reaching out to other people, that's a huge red flag. I know at one point people were putting the red flag all over the place. That's a huge red flag. Like, you do not want your organization to just be known by a couple of people and you think you done made it. That doesn't work. Like, you really have to buckle down and build relationships and have conversations about your nonprofit organization every day. Like, when I say every day, like, I don't care if it's like word of mouth, like you're telling people about your organization, like you're on weekends, if you're not able to do it in person, like your social media marketing game needs to be on point. You need to be talking about your nonprofit organization every day. If you're trying to build it and you're trying to ensure that people know you exist, yeah, go ahead and do the thing. Wait, let me drop something right now here. All right, so yeah, people need to know you exist. If people don't know you exist, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Me? No, I'm talking to my live. My son thinks I'm talking to him, y'all. Like, he's probably like, this woman talking about to herself. Okay, so yeah, what are you doing? Because then you're trying to build a business. And what that entails is you building recognition. Because then if you look at businesses, entrepreneurs, one thing they do and they do well, some of them, not all. There are some that don't understand this concept yet. You have to get your business in front of new eyes. For your nonprofit, you have to get your nonprofit organization in front of everybody in your community, new people, because you never know who's going to support your cause, who's going to support your mission, and who's going to want to fund your mission and increase your impact, increase what you are able to do, increase the work that you're doing in the community. So think about that. There's so many different ways that you start building strategic partnerships. Start looking at around you, around your community. Start trying to make the links. Start trying to make the connections. Start trying to figure out what organizations or what businesses in my surrounding or in my area or the area I serve do work that can complement what I'm doing. Now, when I say complement it, you have to think about that, like what I'm doing right now, who in this community is doing work that helps support what I'm doing. You better have a connection with these people. Because if you're feeding the unhoused, right? Find out which organizations are doing other work for the unhoused. Find out who actually has mobile clinics, mobile showers, anything for the unhoused. The reason for that is because you can actually collaborate with them to put an event together, increase your visibility in your community, and also serve more people. Because then one thing I said in one of my posts this morning is that you cannot be working in a silo and you're a nonprofit organization. You cannot do that. Because if you are a nonprofit organization, a community-based organization, working with other partners, collaborating, that does nothing but increase the amount of support and the amount of impact you're able to make. Like, you have to really, like, be comfortable in yourself, because if it's an ego thing that's causing you not to reach out to these organizations to seek partnerships, to make collaborations, then we have a bigger issue at hand. You need to go talk to somebody, because then if you're not talking to people, or if you don't want to collaborate because you feel like that takes away from you, then what are you doing helping people? You can't be helping people if you can't help yourself. Like, you really cannot. Like, that's how I feel about it. And I know my face sometimes says it all, so I apologize for that. But you really need to be careful with that. You really have to start thinking of how you're going to make sure that the work that your nonprofit organization is doing can be compounded with your strategic partnerships. Because then, without being able to be strategic in how you partner with people, now let's say you're helping the unhoused and you try to collaborate with somebody doing something totally different, maybe kids in school. That's like, unless it has to do with your audience, then it's really difficult to connect the dots. So you really have to buckle down and figure that out. Now, that is one thing that I help my clients with when we sit down to work on a strategic plan, because one of the things that I am very passionate about in my work is identifying opportunities, not just financial opportunities, and the work that I do that can help me move forward. Because then there might be a partnership, there might be a partner out there, and that if we work together, there are going to be more eyes on the work that's being done. Like, let's say they're not a direct audience, or they're not somebody that we serve, somebody that can want to support and can't do it on their own. They want to work with y'all and support. So that's why these strategic partnerships go a long way. And a lot of times, maybe it's not only the organizations in your area that are doing the same work. Look into local government offices. If they're doing something, build relationships with people that work in these offices, because a lot of local governments have programs for the community members, but they can only go so far. A lot of times people in the community are getting upset. Oh, the government isn't doing this, they're not doing that. There's a reason. They can only do so much with the limited resources that they have. Because then it's not the staff's fault. So collaborate with the staff in these offices to identify the gaps that exist in the services they offer and the services that you offer, to find a way that you can close these gaps, that you can bridge these gaps. Now, I'm giving you game here. So definitely, if you're not able to identify these things, book a strategy session with me, because I want to work with you on making sure that you close these holes that you have not been able to plug, because your goal has been to go full time in your nonprofit organization. Because you started the nonprofit, you're volunteering every weekend. You can't do your full-time job and your nonprofit. There is a way where you can do like just that. You can focus on doing the work that you want to do, the impact that you want to do. But if your nonprofit is not bringing enough money and you do not have the capacity, it's going to be an issue for you. So you really need to think about the strategic partnerships you have, the outreach that you're doing, because in the beginning stages of your nonprofit organization, one thing you're going to have to be really heavily focused on, is the recognition. And the one way that you can do that is through outreach. Now, if you serve your community, outreach can be different things. It can be going door to door, right? Going door to door canvassing. Doing like, because if you don't have access to tools like PDI, because then PDI is Political Data Inc. And I forgot the name for the system in the states like Florida, Alabama, and stuff like that. But that's one in California where you get access to voters who are registered in your state. Like in PDI, that's registered voters in the state of California. You can get access to their information because that's public information. But then there are softwares that consolidate that stuff where you can actually phone bank. Your staff can phone bank, talk about your program, or actually ask questions, surveys, assess community members about their opinions about certain things. My Instagram tripping, it's saying pause due to poor connection. So I'm gonna let Instagram do what it do. So yeah, you have to think about what tools that you can tap into. If you do not have the budget to get tools like that, then go door-to-door canvassing. Just make a map using Zillow, identify which areas you're going to go to these communities and talk to these community members. Okay, talk to these community members. If you do not have the staff and you do not have teams, because one thing that I'm not for is people going to door to door by themselves. No, I'm not a proponent for that. If you're doing outreach, don't go by yourself. If you can't be with a team at these doors, then go to outreach events. Those are public events that are being put together by somebody hosting it. Like, look up what events are happening, build relationships with other partners. Like, I can teach you how to do this stuff, because if you pay attention, there are events happening in your community every month, if not every week. Your elected officials are putting events together. That's if they care about the community. They're putting events together. That's one thing. Okay, other organizations are putting events together. Maybe it's a health fair. Like, those are outreach events that you can do. There's so many other outreach events that you can be in, and also how to leverage these outreach events to build your network, increase your recognition, and start building relationship. That is something I really need you to start tapping into. And you need to start having a strategic plan so you can plan these things and see how you're going to, how you're going to do this work every week, how you're going to accomplish these goals every day. Because then one of my posts was like, you cannot go like daily if you're not talking to at least 40 people about your nonprofit organization. You're doing something wrong. You're doing something very wrong. And I'm being very conservative when I say 40 here. I'm being really, really conservative. Can be 40 people you talk about your nonprofit. How do you do that? If you see somebody on the elevator, usually, like, for some reason, the only question people seem to ask these days, because they don't know what else to ask, oh, what do you do? Have your pitch ready. Like, have your pitch ready, y'all. Like, talk about your nonprofit organization. Listen, I founded a nonprofit organization that does XYZ. Have a story ready, like a short story that the person will remember. A memorable story or a memorable pitch that somebody will remember when you tell them about your nonprofit. Or wherever you go and people want to talk to you, because sometimes people just want to do small talk. That should be in your small talk conversation, because then think about how many people you encounter every day. Because then I make it a thing now. Like, if I see someone, I will talk to them, how's your day going? And how's your day going? Maybe casually bring up your nonprofit, because people will be curious and ask, what is that? What is that? And you can go ahead and start talking about your nonprofit organization and the work you're doing. And the other way you can do that, you see what I'm doing right now? I'm live. I'm talking about building strategic partnerships and outreach. I don't have to do that, but that's something that you need. You need to be able to build strategic partnerships that allow you to go above and beyond $100,000 of yearly annual revenue for your nonprofit organization, because your goal is to start paying your staff, having paid staff, paying yourself, because you're working in your nonprofit organization. What's your position within your nonprofit organization? Is it the executive director? Is it the development director? What is your position within your nonprofit organization? You need to be clear and concise about what it is you're doing within your nonprofit organization, and build from that. You need to have a plan of how you're going to get your nonprofit organization to produce the results and actually do the work that it was founded for. Because $0 in the bank and donations from your auntie, your uncle, your mama, your daddy is not going to do that. Those small donations are not going to do that. You need to start working your nonprofit like it's an actual business, because it is. It is an actual business, and the only thing that separates it from a regular business is the fact that you have a tax exempt status. That don't mean nothing except for the fact that you're not paying taxes like other businesses. That is a benefit that you're getting for doing the work that you do. You're doing charitable work, so the government tells you that you don't have to pay taxes. You're still a business. You're just not paying taxes because the work that you're doing is charitable. So, like, when I say building strategic partnerships, they understand that. They understand that you're doing work that they cannot do. The government cannot do the work that you're doing. So they're giving you a benefit, which is exempting you from paying taxes if you are a nonprofit organization with the tax exempt status. Like, not every nonprofit has a tax exempt status, so I'm just gonna say right here, like, if you know, you know. So you have to think like about the steps and actions that you need to start taking, because what you're doing right now is not enough. Start talking to people about your nonprofit organization. If it's showing to town halls and networking with people, getting to know some folks, talking about your organization, find out what events are happening. These things are happening all over the place. Get to talk about your nonprofit organization. Go to City Hall. If they have a topic of interest that you can contribute to, that you can say something about, introduce yourself in your organization. These things are recorded. There are so many ways to build recognition, to build strategic partnerships, and get your name out there. You need to start taking advantage of those and doing them, because one thing that strategic partnerships, outreach, recognition, all of these things, that's what I've been talking about all week. All week I've been talking about these things. They don't help anybody but your organization. So stop sleeping on those. Like, you really have to start thinking about how these actions are going to take your organization to the next level. Because then, if nobody knows about your organization, then how are you able to do a lot of work? If you don't have the capacity within your organization, how are you helping people? Because think about, your organization is dedicated to helping youth. But there's so many young people in your community, your backyard, that need help right now. How are they going to get that help if you're not able to build your capacity in the next few years? If you're not able to grow your network and grow your financial health and grow your revenue, how are you going to be able to help them? I want you to start thinking about these things. Start thinking about these things. Stop feeling sorry for your nonprofit organization because it has the title of nonprofit organization. Just because it is a nonprofit organization does not mean it is a destitute organization. You have to start leading yourself into treating your organization, your nonprofit organization, like the business that it is. If anybody's telling you otherwise, or if you are feeling sorry for yourself and not taking ownership of what you have right now, what you have access to, and what you're able to do within your nonprofit organization, then nobody can help you. If you feel that you cannot do anything to grow your organization, nobody can help you. But if you feel like, if you know in your heart that your organization is meant to serve more people because that is exactly why you founded it, then let's talk. Because your nonprofit organization, think about your mission. Think about how much you could be doing. Have you seen the world lately? Have you seen the world? Because I know I'm looking. I might have my news off where I do not want to watch the news. That's to keep my brain from overthinking and feeling like I'm losing my marbles. But I see what's happening. People need that sense of community. And as a nonprofit organization, you have the ability to be a community-based organization, an organization that is able to make change and an impact in the world. Now, if you want to stay small, that is on you. But if you're serious about your organization, you stand on business, then world, watch out. World, watch out. Because that organization is the one that's gonna, that people are gonna remember. Because the nonprofit organizations, a lot of people are saying that nonprofits tend to like problems because they keep, they cater to problems, but be a nonprofit that empowers. Think about how you can empower your audience, how you can empower people too. I really challenge you to do that too. Nonprofits have the power to empower. And there's no doubt about that, because think about how when you help someone, when you serve someone, when you lift someone up, you can also empower them. And you have to use that, because when you can lift somebody up and empower them, that is magical. So I want you to start using your nonprofit organization to make an impact and treat it like the business that it is. It is a business with a purpose, with a heart, but it is still a business that you have to grow. If you're depending on begging people for money, that's not the way. You have to be intentional and strategic about it, and a strategic plan and a fundraising strategy, and people who are aligned with that vision that you have. That is the most important part. That is the most important part. Because if you have a board of directors, nobody's doing anything, and nobody's following anybody, there is a lack of leadership that you need to fix, and there's a strategy problem that you need to fix. And if you don't fix that strategy problem so you can know how you can lead your board of directors to take action, that's on you. So I'm going to invite you to book a call with me so we can talk about how we're going to get your organization from the revenue that it's at right now to 10x that. Because more revenue equals more impact, a successful nonprofit that does the work that it was created to do. Again, just because you're a nonprofit does not mean that you should stay in the mindset that you should not be generating revenue for your organization. because more revenue means that you can hire staff to do the work that you cannot do by yourself. Because there's no glory in cleaning the toilets, trying to pay rent, and all of these things for your nonprofit organization, and you're the only person doing it. What's the point? You could have just done it as a one-person team. Like, you didn't have to get a tax exempt status. Why'd you get one? So check the link in the comments, check the link in my bio, check my Stan Store, see how you can work with me because I'm ready. Our signature program is called the Capacity Building Accelerator, and that's an 8-week program, a consulting program where I work with you and your executive team to create a strategic plan for your nonprofit organization to get your nonprofit organization where it needs to go, and short-term and long-term. Because that's what you need to start working on, intentional and strategic actions that get you to the next level. So yeah, check out the links. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you so much. If you're watching the replay, #replay, thank you to everybody that was here and everybody that's joining. Always a pleasure. Have a good one.